Hello, everyone. Welcome back to class. All right, so let's get started with a quick homework check. So, everyone who was here last week, you can have your answer ready by submitting it into the group chat so you can read out loud your answer. Okay, so let me share my screen. And for those of you who weren't here last week, our homework was this writing assignment over here. Now, imagine you are a news reporter. Look through the news and choose an article that you want to summarize. So this article could be anything, could be about maybe the plane crashes that have been happening recently, such as there was one in Canada, there was also one in Korea. So a lot of plane crashes. Or you can also look at more positive news articles, such as maybe a new discovery or maybe a new species was found. So any article, news article you wanted to do, you just had to summarize it. So choose something that was recent within the last year. All right, so if any of you have done your homework, you can have your answer ready and submit it into the group chat. Or if you're unable to submit it, you can also just read out loud your answer. No? Does anyone have their homework ready? Anyone have any questions? Okay, so I have some submissions here.
Teacher,
Oh, yes,
I
Wes.
have my homework ready. I just ready to send in.
Oh, you're ready to send in? Okay, you can send in your answer to me, Wesley. And for Jinyi, you weren't here last lesson. Oh, that's fine. That's okay. It could, and for Serena, your parents didn't let you look at the news. Okay, that's fine as well. Maybe you can ask them about maybe a news article that they read and they can summarize it for you. So maybe you can kind of get the news like that. But otherwise, that's fine as well. So, does anyone have their writing ready and done? You can read out loud your answer if you do have it done. No? No volunteers? No one has done it? Okay, so, oh, thank you for Wesley sending in your answer. All right, Wesley, you can read out loud your answer.
The world has experienced its hottest year since began. A report from the Copernicus Climate Change Service said every month in the past 12 months breaks temperature record. Every month was more than 1.5 degrees warmer than pre-industrial average. In the industrial period,
Period.
period
Hmm.
start in the mid 19th century. century. This is when we start to burn fossil fuel on a large scale. Researchers Carlo Boom, Bruno Temple, director of uh, Copernicus, said the report a large and continuing shift in the climate change. He warned, we must see new record being broken as the climate continue to warm. This is inevitable. But we stop putting greenhouse gases into the uh, ato-
Atmosphere.
atmosphere
Hmm.
and the oceans. The greenhouse gases could make sunlight's heat keeps in the air. It gets the temperature in Death Valley to 53 degrees. It makes many people die. Stop putting greenhouse gases could save the world.
Good job, Wesley. So good job pronouncing some tricky words such as climate change, continuing shift, as well as Copernicus. So Copernicus is a name. In this case, it is the name of this climate change service. All right. So anytimes you have degrees, just and you have a C, you can also pronounce Celsius. Sometimes, especially in the US, in America, they pronounce or they read their temperature as F, so Fahrenheit. That's because they use Fahrenheit, and that is a bit different than Celsius. So anytime you have a C, you can also say 53 degrees Celsius. And be careful of the word or name here, Death Valley, Death Valley. Okay, Elaine, yes?
I don't really know how can I write a news report.
Okay, so you are, imagine you are a news reporter. So if you maybe have watched the news or maybe you've heard about the news, you can kind of see how they are reporting on the news or reporting on the weather, such as saying, today's latest news is that there is a report of a police chasing after some thieves who broke into the jewelry store down on Fifth Avenue Street. The thieves made out with $100,000 worth of jewelry, and they also were in a getaway vehicle that was red and maybe had blue wheels, for example. So you can say something like this to summarize the news article. You might not go into as much details, but this is a way to condense that news article into maybe 5 to 7 sentences. So you're getting the main points in. So in this case, Wesley is writing about the news article of climate change. So very nicely done. And I also like how Wesley, in the last part, you also mentioned about what we as people and individuals can do to help reduce this climate change. And for using some advanced vocab words like inevitable, so inevitable, that word means that this something will happen regardless of whatever we do. So this thing will for sure happen. That's what inevitable means. Like we cannot stop this. This will for sure happen. All right. So anyone else have their writing done and ready and can send it in? And for those that don't know, pre-industrial is talking about the Industrial Revolution, which is when machines were starting to get made and were being introduced into factories. And this helps sped up the process of labor and work. So maybe back in the past, people would create maybe furniture or maybe they would create car parts manually by hand. So they would do everything by hand. But with machines, it made the process of creating things so much faster and it sped up a lot of the items that were being produced. So maybe in the past, to make maybe, let's say, bottles of milk, you had to squeeze the cow's udders by hand. You had to then maybe burn the milk in the oven for a couple hours and you had to physically watch over it. But with machines, you can get this all done really fast and also in a big, large quantity. So that is what the industrialization is, the introduction of machines. Okay, does anyone have any other writing that they have done? No? All right. So I'll move on to the next part of our lesson for today. So instead of doing quote of the day, let's go straight into the quiz now, starting with number one. Fill in the blanks over here. You must apologize, blank him for your rude behavior. Which option is the best answer for this blank? Okay, thank you, everyone. And you've all submitted in your answers. Yes, nicely done. A is the correct answer. So I see everyone has said A. No one else has said any other different answers. So great job, everyone. Okay, number 2. Is it possible to attain nearly anything one strives blank? Okay, so remember to number your answers and try to send them directly to me so that everyone else gets a chance to answer and think of their own answers. Okay, so I see a lot of people are saying 2C over here, and that is correct. Yes. So I see no other different answers, so I think everyone understands this. Number 3 now. She often boasts blank her aristocratic upbringing. Great job, Brady. Nicely done. So this might be a tricky one. Do your best. Jinyi and Serena, great job. And for Allison, I think you meant to put number 3. So if so, yes, good answer. All right, so everyone seems to be getting this answer. So yes, number 3, correct answer is about. B. Last 3 questions now. We're going on to definitions. What does attain mean? So here you're going to write out your own brief definition and send it to me in the group chat. So again, number your answers like number 4, attain means, and you fill in the rest. Or if I have a volunteer, who can answer what attain means? Does anyone have a guess? Maybe they can give their best guess of what they think this definition is. Yes, Elaine?
I think attain means like around.
Oh, okay. So let me put down what you think it means. Attain means around. So not quite around, but rather you are trying to reach for something. Oh, Serena, yes.
I think it means to clarify or something.
Do you think it means
It's like it, it's like to succeed in achieving.
yes, Serena, you are on the right track. Yes, it means to succeed in getting or maybe reaching for something. And then for Allison, you said number 4, attain means that successing and achieving. I think maybe you meant to write succeeding and achieving. So very close, you're on the right track. Yes. So achieving something. That is what attain means, to succeed in getting, reaching for something. All right. Number 5. What does boast mean? And I see Jinyi has answered. Jinyi has said boast means you talk about how good you are. Yes, exactly. Good job, Jinyi. Does anyone have any definitions that they want to add? Or maybe some examples? Yeah, Serena, nicely done. It means to be prideful. So you are bragging about what you've done, or maybe how good you are, your accomplishments. That is what boast means, to brag, to be prideful. More specifically, to brag or show off. Okay. Last definition here. What does aristocratic mean? This one's a tricky one. So this is, think back to the past 200 years. This is talking about the age period of 200 years ago. And this is used to refer to a certain type of people.
这个杯子歪了。
Does anyone have a best guess for what they think it
它的
means?
80，一共只有80个杯子。
这会儿还要去商场，跟妈妈看鞋。
Okay, so I think some people might not have heard of this word before. That is fine as well. So, the definition of aristocratic is referring to the upper class people back in the 1800s. So, let me put down the definition for everyone to know. Oh, to be noble. So yes, Serena, you are on the right track. Not exactly noble, but aristocratic usually refers to the group of people that are wealthy, have money, and are kind of like upper class citizens. So instead of saying upper class, we call them aristocratic. To upper class people. All right, so now that we've done our pop quiz, let's move on to quickly the recommended book that I have, and it is a fiction novel. In this case, it is actually a comic novel, so I thought this would be a little different and a good change of pace from chapter books. It's good to read a variety of books because that introduces you to different types of way that passages could be created and maybe writing could be done, as well as make it more interesting to follow along stories. So with comic books, there's a lot more graphics, a lot more pictures, and this can help you envision, oh, what exactly is happening in this scene. So maybe at most it's mostly conversations or dialogue you see, but based on the background of the images or maybe the characters in the drawings, you can kind of see, oh, where exactly this is happening, what the context is. Is it a scary, dangerous place? Do the characters look scared or happy, like such as here? We have one that's smiling, so looking happy, and maybe one that's more open mouth, so maybe shocked or scared. So yes, I'll put this down as comic novel or graphic novel. And then here, for this paragraph, can I get Isaiah? Can you read this paragraph?
You mean me?
Oh, so I think is Isaiah not here or so let me see if Isaiah, can you read out loud this paragraph?
Katrina and her family are moving to the coast of Northern California because of her little sister Maya is sick. Kat isn't happy about leaving her friends for Bahia de la Luna, but Maya has cystic fibrosis and will benefit from the cool, salty air that blows in from the sea. As the girls explore their new home, a neighbor
Oh, so you can continue. A neighbor. Isaiah, maybe your internet got cut off? Okay, so a neighbor from here. Can I get Serena? You can read the rest of this then. A neighbor, starting with a neighbor.
A neighbor lets them in on a secret. There are ghosts in Bahia de la Luna. Maya is determined to meet one, but Cat wants nothing to do with them. At the time of the year when ghosts reunite with their loved ones approaches, Cat must figure out how to put aside her fears for her sister's sake and her own.
Nicely done, Serena. All right, so this brings me to the next part, a brief description of the author. Can I get Elaine to read this?
Rihanna Telemaker is an American cartoonist. She worked include the autographical We Victim Smile, which was posted as a full-color middle-grade graphic novel in February 2010, and the following up sister and the fiction Gracie novel drama all of each have been on the New York Times best seller list.
Nicely done, Elaine. Good reading pace, clear voice. So just be careful of some words. For example, cartoonist. Cartoonist is basically another way to say someone who is an artist and specifically draws or, yeah, creates cartoons. So cartoons are like how you see on TV and you see on maybe some comic books. Let's see, images. So these are cartoons. Okay. So again, you see them on TV shows, but you also see them in drawings. Like when people are drawing cartoons, they're drawing characters. All right. So coming back to here, another word to be careful of is published. Published as well as autobiographical webcomic. So autobiographical, this word means you are writing about your own life. So maybe you're writing a story about your own life or a part of your own life. So in this case, the author Reina, she wrote about her middle school experience in her web comic, which is another way to say comic book or graphic novel, Smile. Okay, let's go on to the words that I have for you all. So first word is peculiar. Peculiar meaning not like others. As an example, this peculiar boy always liked to be alone during recess. Next word that I have is accelerate. So accelerate is a verb and it means to move faster. For example, we had to accelerate the car or move the car faster in order to get to the wedding in time. Lastly, we have equivalent, which means basically equal to something else. And an example is this ruler is equivalent to this pencil in terms of price. So you're saying in terms of price for both of these items, ruler and pencil, they're basically equal. So basically having the same price. Okay, so now that you've learned about these words and their definitions and usages, I'm going to give everyone some time to think of their own sentences using either all of these words or maybe one to two. So do your best to use them all, but if not, use at least one to two of those vocab words. So maybe think of a story you can write using all three of these words. But if you really can't think of anything, you can just write about 3 sentences using these vocab words. I'll put this into the group chat now. Yes, Elaine?
So, is all of these 3 sentences need to be connected together?
Yes, if you can do so, make sure that they are connected. So maybe it follows a story or it kind of makes sense. Like Bob and Mark went to the supermarket. They bought a car, or not a car. They bought a milk and they used a shopping cart to push their milk around in the store. So you see how the next sentence is a continuation of the story or idea from the first sentence. So try your best to do something similar like that. But if you really can't think of a sentence to follow up using the vocab word to follow along with the first sentence, that's okay. You can use a different sentence then. Okay, so let me know if you have any other questions or if you're not getting any parts of this assignment. All right, so 3 minutes have passed, everyone. If you have your answers ready and done, you can send them into the group chat. And of course, for those of you still writing, try to finish up whatever last sentences you do have. So it's okay if you can't use all of the vocab words, that's fine. Just finish whatever you do have so far and send it in. All right, so Thank you for those that have sent in their answers. I'm going to add it in. Thanks for Isaiah and Brady. All right, so I've submitted in almost everyone's work. If you still haven't done so, try to wrap up whatever sentences you do have. So, looking at Brady's first over here, there was a peculiar person who really likes cars. He likes with an S just because it is singular, so the verb has to be the singular verb form. And in this case, it is like with an S. Accelerate and decelerate cars. Oh, I like decelerate. So we know accelerate is moving faster. Decelerate is to move slower. So decrease the speed, which is to say. So the phrase is when you're trying to say something as, oh, this is similar to this, and you're saying which is to say using this transition statement here, it would be which is to say. It is very exciting and can wake himself up. Okay. And he says it is equivalent to espresso. Ah, okay. So I like how you use the word equivalent here. And let's try to be also a little more specific in the last sentence where it says equivalent. And he says it is equivalent to maybe drinking espresso. So just saying equivalent to espresso, what is equivalent? Is it the joy or is it the price? It is the excitement. So again, you can say, and he says the excitement or maybe the cost. So it could be anything, but you just have to specify what exactly you're comparing. Okay, so Isaiah. Okay, to accelerate, but accelerate what? Like a car, to accelerate himself. What does he want accelerated? Okay. And then next up, we also have he thought to or not. So here it would be he thought to accelerate or not are equivalent. Okay. So great job here. You achieved our goal. What is your goal? Maybe if you can be a little more specific, as well as what exactly were you maybe racing because you needed to accelerate and decelerate. So what exactly were you racing? And then you achieve your goal of winning the race or getting first place or getting third place. So what was the goal? Okay, moving on. Okay, nice job, Jinyi. I like how your sentences go together, talking about accelerating his speed. So again, what exactly is he accelerating his speed in? Like, is it his speed in walking, or his speed on his bike, or his speed in his car? So Of what? What exactly is he accelerating? Okay. And of course, just don't forget the spacing and such in your words. So here, anytime you have a when statement, when he went to the bookshop, comma, you have a comma. Same as if you have a if statement. Anytime you have an if statement, you would then put a comma when you're talking about the rest of the sentence. If blah 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 happens, then this would occur. Or I would do this instead then. So then that second half would have a comma before you say the second half. Okay, so I like how you used price as well. People with an O, just don't forget some spelling mistakes here. Okay, so I would say be more specific in your sentences. Because here you are equivalent to others in terms of what? What exactly are you comparing? When you're accelerating the car, okay, that makes sense. As well as we are peculiar people. That one also does not really tell us anything. So how are they peculiar? What are some peculiar ways? Okay. So one day there was a peculiar girl named Elena. So here at recess, she all was always instead of always was, it would be was always. She also had a Lamborghini that accelerated 1,000, or in this case, 10,000 kilometers more than a Tesla. Ooh, interesting. As well, over here, anytime you have numbers, you're always going to want to put commas in them. This helps us read the numbers easier to know that, oh, there are 3 comma places. So that means that this number is in the millions. So in this case, 1, 2, 3, and then comma here. So we know it is 10,000. All right, so moving on to the next part after Serena, we have Allison and Elaine. Okay, so for Elaine over here, let's do Allison first. The skier accelerate because the wind is pushing him or her. Okay. 3 times 5 is equivalent to 5 times, oh, maybe I got cut out. 5 times 3. Yes, that makes sense. Oh, because he can run, accelerate. So this case, let's say because he can instead of saying accelerate here, you can say accelerate his run. So increase the speed of his run in this case. So here you can say one day a new student arrived at PE class. And then you can do a period here if you like. Equivalent to the speed, equivalent to his speed. So you're talking about not the speed, but his speed if you're comparing it back to the first person. So So you're talking about this Morgan boy. And also comparing this new boy to Morgan. Friends, maybe you meant to say immediately?
No, except.
Oh, except what?
Except armies.
Oh, okay. So this is how you would spell it. And last of all, oh, at last, another comma here. All of the students know that he is lonely because nobody can beat him. Not win him, but beat him. So when you say beat him, it means that you are beating this person, as in you are winning or achieving more than the other person. All right, so that concludes our writing for this question or this vocab word sentences. So let's do some reading now. Okay, so the story that I have is Winter is on its way. But before that, let's do an idiom of the day. So we haven't done this in quite a long time. So the first idiom, cutting corners. What does this mean? Does anyone have a guess for what cutting corners mean? Maybe you've heard of it from school, maybe your teachers have mentioned it. What does cutting corners mean? Does anyone have an idea? Or maybe they have a best guess as to what they think this definition is? Yes, Elaine?
Like, I think cutting corners means that. I think cutting corners means that, like, others do something and they didn't know how to do it, and they they do it. For example, the the emperor of China likes to hear xylophone playing or something, and people that don't know how to play xylophone came, and he didn't play that, and he didn't put the xylophone. He played the xylophone by fake, but when the emperor died, his son likes to hear one people playing the xylophone, and that people can't cut corner anymore.
Oh, very good answer, but not quite there yet. So I think maybe we have some other answers, such as Brady saying, I think it means that there's another easier way to do something. Yes, so cutting corners means to take a shortcut. So what Brady said is 100% correct. So let's go back to the definition, and then also if you have some example sentences, you can add that in as well. So I just saw that Allison, you also sent in your vocab sentences. I'll just quickly add them in. This peculiar mermaid always wanted to be alone. Okay, good sentence, but again, trying to make it different from what the example sentences were saying. So this is too similar to the example sentence. Try to make it different. But all right, coming back to the idiom now. Yes. Over here, the definition is to basically take shortcuts. Sometimes maybe people realize that, oh, I can cut through this area here and then get to this final destination faster. So they do something. And in this case, cutting corners is doing something quickly. So you're doing it faster than maybe the normal way or the regular way, but you're also doing it badly. So think of maybe construction work. Think of building a house. You can do it the regular normal way where you first have to pour in cement, build a foundation so that when you build a house on top of the land, it is steady and doesn't shake or maybe collapse when there's too much wind or maybe when there's a storm. So, they're doing cutting corners, they're doing something quickly and badly. It's to save time or money. Does anyone have an example sentence? Let's let me show you the, oh yes, Elaine?
Angelina didn't know how to do the math quit, and she just looked at the other students' answer and she copied it. And when there's a hard when the teacher said you are going to do it by yourself, and the teacher put a book in front of all the students. Angelina doesn't know how to do it anymore.
Okay. So remember, try to use these idioms directly, like cutting corners, in your example. So in this case, let's say Angelina didn't know how to do her math test. So she was cutting corners by copying others, we can say. So in this case, you are now applying the idiom as well as giving a bit of definition as to why exactly she's using how she's doing this idiom. So in this case, how she's doing something badly and quickly. Okay. And then the example sentence that I have is Liza cut corners on her math homework so she could watch TV and ended up getting most of the answers wrong. So very similar to your answer, Elaine. So great job on that. So let's move on to the reading now. Coming back to the passage over here. For the first half, can I get Brady to read out loud?
If you have been living in North America many millions of years ago, you would have found the weather warm and damp all year round. There are no winters as we know them. Then the climate began to change. To survive, the kinds of plants and animals living then had to be able to live through the cold seasons. As millions of years went by, certain kinds of plants and animals lived through winter better than others. Others didn't do well. And over the years, they died out. Today, the plants and animals that you'll find in northern part of the United States, all have ways of behavior or physical characteristics called adaptations that help them survive the winter season. Let's look at some of the ways in which different kinds of plants and animals are adapted to live through the winter.
Nicely done, Brady. All right, next two paragraphs here. Can I get Jinyi? Can you read these two paragraphs?
Hibernation is a deep sleep in which an animal's breathing, heartbeat, and other body processes slowly slow down until the animal is barely alive. In this way, it survives the winter by using very little energy. Hibernators include chipmunks, woodchucks, and some bats and mice. Some other animals, such as bears and skunks, are not very active during the winter, but they do not hibernate. Many trees seem to be dead in the winter. In a way, they are hibernating like certain animals. If you cut down through the twig, you will find the young leaves that will bloom in the spring. They are protected from drying out by layers of tough bud scales.
Nicely done, Jinyi. Good pronunciation, good clear voice, and reading pace. You can try to read a bit faster so that the words flow a bit closer together, but otherwise, nicely done. All right, so we now know that there's hibernation and that other animals have some unique adaptations to deal with winter. And then we can discuss how humans deal with winter as well in the end. Okay, this paragraph, Allison, can you read out loud?
Migration is not just for the birds. Some mammals, including caribou and some kinds of bats, also migrate. In summer, these caribou feed and raise their young in northern Alaska and Canada. Then they travel south as far as 800 miles to forts that are somewhat protected from the Arctic winter.
Great job, Allison. Good pronunciation. So just make sure that your diction is a bit, or your voice is a bit more clear. Make sure that you're pronouncing the full syllables of the words, but otherwise, very nicely done. So here in this image, most, but not all, caribou, which is a type of deer in this case, they migrate to find food. Migrate meaning they move from one place to another place following the seasons. And this is to find food and reproduce. Some herds, which is talking about groups of these deer or caribou, they roam far, others stay local. And here we have a gray-brown snowshoe hare in the summer. So it's changing from its pure white color to more of a brown, dark gray color. It's because as the snow is melting, it's needing to blend in its environment, and the environment is more like snow, or not snow colored, but rather dirt colored. So that's why its fur also changes to matches that dirt color as well. Okay, next up here, can I get Allison? Can you read this sentence or this paragraph as well?
In summer, the snowshoe hare is a gray-brown as winter nears a new coat for white-tipped hairs gradually covers the animal. Soon the hair blends into the snowy background. Snowshoe hares also have large hairy feet. Snowshoes that enable them to move more easily over snow.
Great job, Allison. So good job reading out loud, good pronunciation. And here we have an image of a white snowshoe hare in the winter. So we again see its coat, it's all white, blending in with the snow. All right, so last two paragraphs here. Can I get Brady? Can you read out loud?
Feet that grow in the kind of snowshoe help the ruffed grouse walk in snow. These birds live in forests of the southern Canada and northern United States. In the fall, comb-like fringe grows on the edge of their toes. The fringe increases the surface of the birds 2 or 3 times, enabling them to walk on snow without sinking. Making hay is the way that the pika prepares for winter. These rodents, about the size of a chipmunk, live on the rocky slopes of western mountains. Through winter, pikas cut streams of grass and put them in piles to dry. The dried hay is then stored among the rocks for winter food.
Great job, Brady. So just be careful. I think here you mistook this as winter. Maybe you confused and skipped the bit of wording. But yes, so just through summer instead. So basically, animals will prepare for winter during the summertime. They will start maybe getting food, getting supplies, making themselves more fat by eating more food because during wintertime there's going to be less or no food. All right. So, last sentence here. Serena, can you read out loud?
Look around this fall and winter and see if you can find other ways in which plants and animals adapt to survive.
Yes, great job, Serena. So as we see here, during late summer, the American pika collect plants and store them in hay piles. So these are these pika and they're really tiny and adorable. All right, so this concludes our reading for today, and there's also going to be some reading questions. So since we only have 5 minutes left, I'm going to talk about the homework as well as some ways humans have adapted to winter time. Okay, so the after class questions are based on the reading passage. So it's just 5 questions, really simple and easy. Make sure to have your answers ready for next week's class. And the homework assignment is over here. So you're going to look around this winter time and see if you can find other ways in which plants and animals adapt to survive. And of course, once you have identified an animal or plant that has adaptation to survive through winter. So maybe it pretends to be dead during winter, or maybe it hibernates, or maybe it shrivels up. You can talk about how it adapts or changes to survive through winter. And it's going to be around 5 to 7 sentences. If you can write more, aim for 10 sentences. But if you can't write 10 sentences, you can just do 5 minimum. Okay, send to Dr. Joe Academy forum for homework. Okay, so this is your homework assignment over here, as well as find a plant or animal that has not been mentioned in this reading passage. All right, so this is going to be your homework assignment. And now, talking about humans, what are some ways that humans have adapted to survive through winter? Does anyone have any clue or any suggestions as to how humans have adapted through winter?
AC.
Oh, so Brady, you said AC or BC?
Yeah.
Oh, so yes, not AC. AC would be air conditioner, or air condition, and you use that during the summertime for AC, colder air, but rather heater. So you can say heating, such as maybe making fires during the winter. That was a way for them to stay warm, as well as making jackets and warmer clothing from animal furs back in the past, or even nowadays, wearing winter jackets, wearing snow pants, snowshoes. These are human ways in which we adapt to survive through winter. All right. What are some other habits or some other things that humans do to survive through winter? Can anyone else think of anything? No? So you can say, oh, does anyone have an example? Yes, Elaine, yes.
I think they might live in cave and get a lot of food and stay in the cave to get warm.
Oh, yes. Good job, Elaine. So, yes, back in the past, humans have stayed in the cave to stay warm and gathered lots of food. So, yes, just like how these animals are collecting plants, humans have also been collecting food and products or produce. So, harvesting plants or fruits to save for tough times, especially during the winter times when you can't grow any food or fruits. Good job, Elaine. Anything else? What about modern time? Think of modern ways in which humans have adapted to survive through winter? Okay, so another way you can say is that humans have started moving to warmer locations. So just like how animals have migrated or caribou have migrated to stay warm or to find food and reproduce, humans have also migrated, as in during wintertime, you might hear some people say, "Oh, it's getting really cold here in Canada or in the US. I need to move further south or I need to move somewhere warmer." So maybe they take a plane to go to Hawaii or maybe Thailand where it's summer all year round and it's warmer. So that can be one adaptation or rather one habit that humans have in order to escape the cold. All right, so this concludes our presentation, our lesson for today. So remember your homework assignment over here, and you're going to get a copy of the slides as well as the homework reading questions. So just doing these two things for homework. All right, so I'll stop sharing here. I'll let you all go on with the rest of your day, everyone, and enjoy the weekend. Spend some time outside, play in the snow. Okay, any questions? If not, I'll let you all go on.
Bye.
Bye. All right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye, Jinny.